The number of COVID-19 infections hit a record high over the past 7-day period in the United States and globally, according to Reuters data, which showed the average number of daily cases in the U.S. surged to more than 258,000, over 8,000 more than the previous record set last January. Officials say much of the spike is due to the highly transmissible Omicron variant racing out of control. During an audio-only press briefing Wednesday, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said the surge is not over yet.
In a few short weeks, Omicron has rapidly increased across the country, and we expect will continue to circulate in the coming weeks. While our cases have substantially increased from last week, hospitalizations and deaths remain comparatively low right now.
Top U.S. infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci said studies point to Omicron being less severe than the Delta variant among vaccinated people, but warned,
"We should not become complacent since our hospital system could still be stressed in certain areas of the country."
More than 76,000 people are hospitalized with COVID-19 nationwide, up 19% in the last 10 days, according to a Reuters tally. WHO Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus sounded the alarm for global cases Wednesday.
Delta and Omicron are twin threats that are driving up cases to record numbers, which again is leading to spikes in hospitalizations and deaths. I'm highly concerned that Omicron, being more transmissible, circulating at the same time as Delta, is leading to a tsunami of cases.
Britain, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, and Malta all registered record numbers of new cases on Tuesday. The French health minister told lawmakers on Wednesday that France was seeing a dizzying rise in cases, with 208,000 reported in the space of 24 hours. That's a national and European record.
The Dow and S&P 500 closed at all-time highs on Wednesday, boosted by retailers including Walgreens and Nike, as investors shrugged off concerns of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. The Dow has now risen 6 straight trading days and closed 0.25% higher. The S&P 500 finished up slightly higher, and the Nasdaq closed down slightly lower. Ira Zlotowicz, CEO of G Parency, said that while stocks are benefiting from a Santa Claus rally now, he sees investors moving from equities to real estate.
What's unique now is the market is so flush with cash. So I say the diversification. It's like funny, you see people in real estate, they want to go into the VC world. They think they missed the opportunity. You see people in the stock world say, hey, did I miss the opportunity? Real estate always survives on a hedge and a downturn. And look at some of these returns these people made in the last year. Think about it. How much does your rent go up if you're renting? How much is the value of real estate? You take these things changing, the people now look at the marketplace and say, I want to go on the other side. The grass is greener, but clearly the grass being greener in real estate is that multifamily has really outperformed, even in the recession, in the bad times and in the good times as well.
In company news, Walgreens Boots Alliance and Nike rose against the backdrop of recent reports suggesting holiday sales were strong for U.S. retailers. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 Airlines Index dipped. Delta Airlines and Alaska Air Group canceled hundreds of flights again on Tuesday as the daily tally of COVID-19 infections in the U.S. surged. Shares of both airlines closed down more than 1%. As 2021 draws to a close, the main U.S. stock indexes are on pace for their third straight year of stunning annual returns, and the S&P 500 is looking at its strongest 3-year performance since 1999.
British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted on federal charges Wednesday of luring underage girls to engage in sex acts with financier Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell was found guilty on 5 of 6 counts. She was accused of recruiting and grooming 4 teenagers for Epstein between 1994 and 2004. Epstein, her former boyfriend, killed himself in 2019 in a Manhattan jail cell while awaiting trial on sex abuse charges. Prosecutors said Maxwell was Epstein's partner in crime and that she knew exactly what she was doing.
One of the worst crimes imaginable, facilitating and participating in the sexual abuse of children. Crimes that she committed with her longtime partner and co-conspirator, Jeffrey Epstein.
Maxwell's attorneys argued she was being used as a scapegoat for Epstein and tried to discredit her accusers, saying their memories had been corrupted and that they were motivated by money. During the trial, jurors heard emotional and graphic testimony from 4 women, 2 of whom said they were 14 when Epstein began abusing them. One woman testified she had endured years of sexual abuse at Epstein's homes in New York, Florida, and New Mexico. She said sometimes the sex acts would involve Maxwell. Another woman testified that Epstein abused her more than 100 times starting in 2001. She told the jury that Maxwell would set up appointments for her to give Epstein massages, and the massages would become sexual. Maxwell faces up to 65 years in prison for the 5 charges.
American shoppers flocked to brick-and-mortar stores this holiday season with especially strong sales in several states where the rate of full vaccinations against the COVID-19 virus is less than 60%. That's according to an analysis of MasterCard Spending Pulse holiday sales data provided exclusively to Reuters, which showed that Arkansas, Kentucky, and West Virginia, all of which are less than 55% fully vaccinated, were among the states with the highest sales growth between November 1st and December 24th compared to last year, with in-store holiday sales rising by more than 10% in each of those 3 states. Overall, in-store sales rose 8% according to MasterCard. The highly contagious Omicron variant began spreading rapidly about halfway through the U.S. holiday shopping period. Retail consultancy firm Kantar said these consumers went out shopping because they already had low concerns about getting infected and saw little risk in doing so. In-store sales growth was more moderate in parts of the East Coast, where vaccine rates are among the highest in the country. In New York, where about 72% of people are fully vaccinated, store sales grew between 5% and 6% during the holidays. New York has been especially hard hit by Omicron. But there were some highly vaccinated states where store sales also increased by more than 10%, including Minnesota and New Mexico.
French shellfish farmer Christophe Guinaud has a message for those looking to steal his oysters, and he puts it right inside the shell.
It has had a dissuasive effect. I think that over the past 5 to 6 years, there has been no new oyster thefts and no complaints filed.
While not as valuable as pearls, oysters are a high-end commodity when it comes to shellfish. A half dozen can fetch up to €24 or $27 at fancy restaurants, especially around the holidays when demand is high. Which is why thieves have been known to hop on a boat and steal them from the submerged metal cages in which they are raised. Guinaud's note, which he came up with in 2016 after thieves stole 3 tons of his oysters, is rolled up and put inside an empty shell, which is then glued back together and placed in a cage. The note tells whoever opens it that they have won their weight in oysters and invites them to call a phone number to claim their prize.
Voilà.
That person could then be asked where they bought the oyster, and if it was not from somewhere that Guinaud supplies, the sleuthing shellfish farmer could then set the police on the oyster thief's trail.
Thanks to the mandatory tracking of our shellfish, I will be able to find that rude person, whether he or she is a sea professional or not, who will have sold my oysters to a wholesaler, who will have then sold them to a fishmonger. And with the help of the Nautical Brigade and the Maritime Police, we will be able to catch, at least they will since it is their job, the person who steals from oyster farms.
Other shellfish farmers in southern France have mimicked Guinaud's methods to great effect. After 19 heists in 2017, there were none in 2020.